Hi, welcome back to the Shannon and Lou channel. I am Shannon, to my right is Lou, and then again, here's Pickles. She's always here.
She's always on my butt.
She loves attention. But anyway,
And she loves her
today we are talking about the TV series MASH, M-A-S-H, which stands for what?
Military, Medical Army Surgical Hospital.
There we go.
Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Mobile.
And that series went on from 72 to 83. They were stationed in Korea, and the Korean War went on from 50 to 53. So the show went on almost 4 years longer than the Korean.
Well, it was good. It was that.
It's in the Korean conflict, not the Korean War, the Korean conflict. I'm sorry, when that many people die, I think it was a war, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was a war.
Yeah, so let's dive into MASH. Remember MASH? Remember that? They still play it on certain...
Oh my God, it's always on.
Well, depending on if you have... Well, actually they do. On cable, they have it on, different apps that you download on your TV. But
the characters were... To me, in my opinion, the older ones were better. They were funnier, right?
Well, Hot Lips funnier. Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Hot Lips, Loretta Swit.
Her
character, Major Margaret Houlihan. Who was a bit of a tramp.
Well,
let's face it.
You have to. It was a series. I mean, it was not a series. It was a TV show. I mean, come on.
If you had at least one star on your collar as a general, you're hitting that. You're hitting that. If you have 4 stars, then forget it. It's going to happen.
Okay, what?
I remember when she got
Hot Lips Houlihan.
When she got engaged to Colonel what was his name? Donald Penobscot. Colonel Penobscot. She met him over a weekend in Tokyo.
Oh, that's
so she got engaged.
Yeah.
So she was telling Colonel Potter, and he goes, "Oh, a colonel." He was looking at his picture. Go, "Oh, a colonel." She goes, "Yes, I couldn't fall in love with anybody who's ranked lower than me," or something like that.
Oh, she was a major. Yeah. She had a nice ranking, though.
No, that she met a general one time. He came in to check things out at the MASH unit, and he started coming on to her, and yes, sure enough, she hit the sack with him. The guy died in the sack with her. A 1-star general.
Okay, so wait, before we go into
what a tramp!
No. Before it was just her character on a show. Okay, anyway.
Okay, I didn't say Loretta Swit was. I said her character.
Who was your favorite actor on there?
Ooh, that's a tough one. My favorite character?
Character.
Wow, that's a tough one. You know why it's tough? Because they had a lot of good characters on there.
You smell like garlic.
Because you gave me an English muffin loaded with garlic.
I did, with a little bit of pepper.
And I chewed into it, and I had a clove of garlic. My mouth was on fire.
Out of fairness, I sliced up little thin slices of garlic because it's really good for everything.
I noticed there was blood on my English muffin too, so you must have maybe want to put a Band-Aid on that.
Okay, now we're joking. All right, who was your? That's gross. Who was your?
I don't know. I know I loved Hawkeye in the earlier years. Later, I got so tired of Alan Alda because everything had to be about Alan Alda.
I asked you who was your
I'm
favorite.
trying to decipher here.
What about what's his face? The one that always was.
Klinger?
No, keep going. He's hysterical.
Frank.
Yes, Frank Burns.
Frank Burns. I love Frank
Burns was hilarious. He was such a dimwit. That's probably why I liked him.
He was telling, I think it was Radar one time, he was looking for Major Houlihan because she was missing.
Yeah.
And Frank was saying, any moron, whatever, can see she's not here, including me. He always said things like that.
Yeah, he had a good character on there.
He was hilarious.
And oddly,
Larry Linville.
Radar had a good character, but unfortunately, I think what we've learned was he wasn't he wasn't a pleasant person, and his actual self was not. His character was so incredible.
I don't know if that's true.
We don't know if that's true.
I don't really care.
Yeah,
if it's
you're
true.
right.
I'm a music lover. I've heard that there are certain artists that I like their music. I heard they're not very nice people outside of that. I don't care.
But anyway, Radar had a cute character on there.
The work they do that entertains me is what matters, of course. Radar, he was loved animals, animal lover. I didn't know what kind it was to have raccoons and stuff in cages that were this.
Well, he was saving them from the war, right? So I get that, and bunnies, he had a lot of bunnies. And that's when back then, when Hot Lips Houlihan thought she was pregnant or something. They had to go test it out on the rabbit. Like, how'd they do? What was it?
They took out the ovaries out of the rabbit to see if she was pregnant.
I don't agree with that, but whatever.
But yeah, Radar was kind to animals as a kid, right?
Yeah.
Who was in the original movie MASH in 1970. So,
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was with Elliot Gould and...
I don't even know who that is.
Who else? Elliot Gould and...
Who's Elliot Gould?
Elliot Gould was actually Hawkeye, I think.
No.
I don't know who that is.
I forgot, but
Trapper was the main character. In the
Trapper, but in the series,
Right, Trapper died, right? Didn't Trapper die? Who was the one that died when they went off the show? He was in a helicopter crash?
Henry.
That was the Colonel. No, he died in a plane. He got his points and we're going to send him home, and then he died on a plane. Which, from what I read and everything, the cast didn't even know that they were going to announce that. So
I guess they would have
surprise.
Surprise!
Donald Sutherland and Elliot Gould.
Donald
Sutherland?
and Elliot Gould. Which is Kiefer Sutherland's father.
Yeah, we're jumping around though. Wait, you always loved that crazy CIA man.
Oh my God, yes.
You loved him. I don't know his name, but
Colonel Flagg.
Yeah, Colonel Flagg.
That guy was hilarious.
He was an absolute nightmare.
That guy was hilarious. That was.
I remember him being in one of those.
Oh my God, I just had a brain fart. I know the man's name.
I think he jumped in one of those episodes. He jumped into one of those. It was like an oil bin, but it was like a trash can. It was those circular things, and he was in there hiding because he was trying to spy on.
Oh, he's a CIA guy.
Yeah, he was trying to spy on the MASH unit to determine whether they were equipped to run the mobile MASH unit or something. I don't know. It was the guy that loved the music. What's his name?
Oh, it was Charles.
Charles, I think. And then
he was wealthy, upper crust.
Yeah.
From that.
I kind of liked his character too.
Oh, he was good too.
Yeah, he had a good character on there.
Charles Emerson was good.
Charles Emerson, the third.
And then when he and Hot Lips Houlihan got together, they were eating that turkey out of a can. It was brought over from wherever he was from, and
his family, mom sent it to him.
Yeah, I sent it to him, and they were enjoying it. It was like a peacock or something. I don't know.
I remember when he was first there temporarily.
And they got so sick.
And he's in the bar waiting because he was going to leave. He was only there temporarily to fill in. And then Colonel Pollard goes up to him and says, "Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?" And he goes, "Briefly." He's telling the Colonel briefly.
I got her cat hair in my eye.
He was hilarious. They had really good characters. That's why when you ask me who was my favorite character, I don't know. It depends on different episodes.
Oh, I got a cat hair in my eye.
Different episodes. Klinger, I like Klinger. I love Klinger early on when he wasn't a regular. When he was in here and there, here and there. When he became a regular, you want to talk about overacting. Overacting, Jamie Farr, holy hell.
Well, even Radar, from the beginning to the end.
I liked Radar's character though. He was a very likable character. You couldn't help but kind of fall in love with him.
And here he is, a kid from Iowa, little town out in Iowa, who pretty much ran the place. He ran everything.
And he had Radar.
He was a company clerk.
He knew what was going to happen before it happened.
Yeah.
Right? He knew it.
The Colonel
He could
was writing a
sense
letter to
it.
his wife. And Radar was cleaning behind him, and he said something about, my company clerk is a little quirky or something. And Radar looks at him and he looked at him because he knew what he was writing.
Yeah.
But super entertaining. It was many years, and actually, you think about it, it's well done. This is during a war, right?
Yeah.
And casualties, children, because they showed those things too. Children injured, but it was still comedy.
Yeah. We had to have some life.
They managed to work out that balance of being entertaining, but not getting away from the hardship and what people were going through. I think there were some downsides to it, like today culturally they couldn't do some of the things they did, where they make fun of people, other nationalities.
Back in that day.
Other nationalities.
Yeah, we can say that about a lot
They
of.
couldn't be anti-war either.
Yeah, and they were, when you get drafted for a war and you don't want to be there, you can be anti-war.
You have every right to be anti-war if you get drafted and you want to be there.
But there, for someone who's seen Smash so many times over so many years, a lot of inconsistencies, which I don't understand. Well, the writers, different writers. Okay, but the actors can say, okay, but you have me saying this or saying that, but in the other episodes, that wasn't the case. Like, Hawkeye was from Vermont.
Apple Grove,
mom,
or
and
apple
his sister,
something.
Crabapple. That was earlier on, but still early. But originally he was from Vermont. His sister wrote him a letter, sister wrote him a letter. He said, "Say hi to mom and dad," and then later on it was just him and his dad. He had no sister, and his mother was dead.
Yeah, but that kind of happens with a lot of things. It ran for so long. Now they must have wanted to change
if that was my character, I'd say, "Hey, writers, listen. I'm from Maine."
Yeah, faux pas.
And by the way, I don't have a sister.
I don't know why they changed
name my
it,
dad.
but yeah.
That's what you call writers that don't do their homework.
Yeah, or they didn't give a crap because they were making so many. They were doing so
Doesn't matter
excellent. Ratings were up,
because
so they don't give a
the
shit.
actor who's played that character should say, "Hey, I'm from Maine. You told me I was from Vermont. Now I'm from Maine. What the hell's going on?"
Well, obviously it didn't matter. I mean, they knew what they were doing, but they were just let it go, right?
And they had a lot of, especially earlier on, one-liners. Like I remember Frank was upset with Trapper and Hawkeye, and he goes, "This is the final straw." And Hawkeye says to Trapper, "Remind me to order more straws."
Yeah, right.
I mean, these little one-liners that in the show that were funny. And they were really
Frank,
funny.
I love Frank's character, and your CIA guy, what was his name? Colonel Flag. He grew on me because he was so eccentric. He was a nut. The way his brain worked,
He died fairly young, too.
Yeah, that's a shame. Well, wait, hold on. What's it? The English guy, or not the English guy, the wealthy guy. What's his name?
Charles Emerson.
He passed away, sadly. And then
Frank
Colonel.
Burns, which was Frank Burns. He passed away.
He was also in this story.
Well, really, Alan Alda.
Alan Alda's still
Yep, and Liz Houlihan, which is what's her name?
She's
what's her
Loretta
name?
Swit.
Loretta Swit's alive. And who else?
Still alive.
Radar. Jamie Farr.
Jamie Farr's alive. He's older now.
Well, of course, he's got to
there.
be way up there.
He's up there, but he's alive. McLean Stevenson, Colonel. The colonel, he died. McLean
Yeah,
Stevenson.
so it's so sad to see that these people have passed away. I mean, I know it's life and it's going to
You know,
happen.
it's sad too with so many celebrities, so many actors. When they're in a hit, they then go out. They want to go on to something else because they want their career to be about them now, and then they end up making mistakes.
Don't forget how long ago this was when they started. They were already in some of these people.
They were in the 30s. They were in their, well, they were like, Alan Alda was in his 30s when Match came out, and he's now high 8. Well, he's got to be up there.
And Colonel Power.
Well, he's
But you know,
passed.
so if we break down the show, break down the program over years, and as the time went on, because it was on for so long, in the beginning, there was Trapper, who was married with 2 daughters, was cheating on his wife every chance he had. Okay? He would cheat on his wife every chance he had. McLean Stevenson, who was...
Who's McLean Stevenson?
The Colonel.
He was
Henry.
Yeah, I know his real name.
Henry Blake. He was married with a family back home. He had a girlfriend. He was cheating on his
Who
wife.
was the one, which colonel, I think it was the colonel, that had that cheerleader? He was obsessed with that cheerleader. She was cute.
That was Henry.
Oh, that was Henry, okay.
That was Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she was trying to hit on Alan Alda.
Yeah, and then she went and hit on Alan Alda. Hawkeye.
On Hawkeye. But anyway, so this point I'm trying to make, how it changed.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, like I said, Trapper, there was Hawkeye and Trapper, of course. Hawkeye was single. He was always single throughout the entire thing, of course. But Trapper was married with 2 daughters, 2 young daughters at home, and he was cheating on his wife all the time.
Well, you said that.
Colonel
Potter?
No, not Colonel
Blake.
Potter. Colonel Blake was married, had a family at home. He was cheating on his wife. He even had a girlfriend. She was hanging or drying her clothes in his tent, all that stuff. So then, I think the more Alan Alda got involved. So now let's replace Trapper with
Honeycutt.
Captain Honeycutt, who's Mr. Perfect, doesn't cheat on his wife. He did cheat on his wife in one episode, and he was going to write his wife and tell her, you know, now a perfect husband doesn't cheat on his wife. Let's replace Colonel Blake, who cheated on his wife.
God, a lot of cheating going on.
With Colonel Potter, who, cheated on his wife. He didn't get it. I mean, they're just trying to become politically correct, where, it was more funny when these guys were a mess. Because they were in a situation that was what it was.
All right,
Colonel Potter, you can understand. He's already old. He's, set this way.
It was just...
No, he cheated on his wife one time.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
that's
he had
right.
a daughter.
Yeah.
He had a daughter, but then he had a son, and then he had a son-in-law, but then he had a...
Okay,
whatever.
Let's just actually, there's no consistency in there, but it didn't matter because the show still worked and it was a huge hit, basically, right?
Even after it became the Hawkeye show.
We can dissect it, never even heard of that.
No, but it became about, the worst episode of any program I think I've ever watched in my life on a TV show that I liked was on MASH. And I can tell you the episode specifically. When Hawkeye was driving by himself, I think he was going back to the 407-7. He was back from R&R, and his Jeep flipped over, and he had a concussion. He knew he had a concussion, so he was at this home with this Korean family in this hut. That's where they lived, and the children. That entire episode was Alan Alda talking. Because he wanted to stay awake and talking because he had a concussion. It was nothing but Alan Alda talking, for Christ's sake, man. I will never watch that episode again. Never.
But we love MASH. That was just an episode, but we do love MASH, and that's why we're talking about it, because there was so much good that it brought to so many people.
What about when Colonel Potter first shows up?
Even when we look back on it, right? When MASH was out, I was not even born. Well, I was just born, right? So I didn't appreciate MASH.
You were literally...
I was just birthed, right? I would never...
created in a lab.
I may have been created...
I don't know where you started at. How you started
could have been created in a lab.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you know later. That's still out for questioning. But if it wasn't for you, I would never have watched MASH because it was not. I didn't care about it.
It wasn't for me. There are a lot of things you wouldn't do.
Oh my God. Okay, we're talking about MASH.
One of the best scenes that was short.
I have to pee.
Is when Colonel Potter took over and Klinger walks into the Shirley Temple outfit.
Yeah.
Wait, I know he wanted to get out of the military, out of this, so he kept trying to dress as a woman, but it never worked. But I guess that was kind of cute.
It was the first time I ever heard the word horse hockey.
He wanted a Section 8, which means
Section
he
8,
was mentally incompetent,
yeah.
so he would be released. He wanted to go home. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to go back to Toledo. Why? Toledo? I don't know.
Listen, you want to get out of freaking where you are and go to Toledo?
I don't know.
Okay,
even during a war.
All right, come on. Let's get our head out of our ass on that one. I mean, of course, you don't want to be in a war. You want to be home.
Yeah, nobody wants to be in a war. Well,
God dang.
Most people don't want to be in a war.
Well, there are some that do, probably, yes, but...
like going back to when you asked what's your favorite character, it's hard to say because I think that was the strength of the show, that it had so many different characters.
Well, no, I think all their characters, they just meshed really well together. There was so much comedy, and I mean, each character, right? You may have hated one, you might have, you had one. You had that character that you really enjoyed.
The ensemble worked.
Yeah. It all collaborated well together, right? It was good. I mean, this is coming from somebody that I love the music, like the intro to it, and that's all I knew about it until he came along, and I just started watching it, 6 years ago, 7?
And the change too, later on, they tried to make more points about society, about, things like that. Like
touching on...
You look at the last episode, the final episode.
That was actually good.
Charles, for example, that band, the latrines were...
The North Korean prisoners.
The latrines were messed up, so he had to go poop in the woods.
Oh, who cares?
And here comes this band of North Koreans, and they follow him.
Musicians.
They were musicians. They weren't soldiers. Yeah. And then he was working with them, trying to get them to play. Actually, I think he was an actual conductor in real life. In real life.
Who? Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was all into music in real life.
Oh, so they honored him in that.
So these soldiers were actually killed. One of them shows up in the at the hospital, and he didn't survive. And they said he was the only one that made it this far. And Charles, who was all about music.
That's when they were taken away to go to a prison camp.
Right. And Charles, who was all about music, said music, one thing that's going to change me is music has always been my escape or something.
Yeah.
He said, now it's going to be a memory.
Yeah.
And he broke the record because he was so angry that he even said they weren't even soldiers. But you know, it actually showed a point too of war, of being exposed to things, how it can change a person.
Oh my God,
You know,
100%.
And view things in a different way. So, I mean, it was really well done. Really well done.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Hawkeye went nuts.
I didn't see that one. Oh yeah, with the I didn't see it. I
Sidney
didn't.
Friedman came in.
Yeah, I
No,
remember
Sydney
the
was
psychiatrist.
another one, a psychiatrist that was in a lot of episodes.
I didn't care for his personality so much, but
Well, he was playing a psychiatrist.
yeah, I get it.
What's he going to be, you know?
Yeah, he couldn't be comedic. I know,
Even
comedic.
Colonel Flag, I don't think he was ever meant to be on there on a regular basis.
Well, he wasn't.
Initially.
He
No,
wasn't.
He was.
Actually,
Right, he was.
I think I read that he was on the first one, and the audience wanted more of him.
Yeah, it was
Wanted more of him.
Deal, I think, or something like that.
And he was hilarious. That man was hilarious. His character.
Oh no, there was so much comedy.
Could you imagine them filming Colonel Flag? How serious he was. They had to crack up every time they were.
No, so here's a little advice. I'm going to give some
He
advice.
didn't even have a hint to crack.
I think if you haven't, depending on the age group, right? If you haven't watched MASH, or if you've watched it, like you watched it religiously when you were back in the day in the 70s, into the 80s, watch it again, find it, because it may give you something back, right? Like a different type of comedy or something that you remember that makes you happy.
Was very different.
War doesn't make you happy, I get it, but the show in itself had a lot of comedy.
Very different than any show
Well,
today.
it was
'Cause
unique,
we watch
of course.
current things, of course. We watch things from 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But that was very unique.
1950, the Korean War, 1950 to 1953.
52 or something.
50 to 53.
Yeah.
They said the armistice.
Yeah.
But anyway, try to find MASH if you don't have it where you live, and it's
have it where you
sometimes it might not be available if they don't have a smart.
Kind of in your backyard or anything like that. Yeah.
No,
If you have a television or a computer.
No,
or a computer.
if it's not running on your cable, then if you have a smart TV, get it. There's different.
Okay,
apps that we
don't
have.
give technical advice because you don't know how to use a remote control. So
It's probably enough for you to open up a beer bottle.
so anyway, we'd like to say thank you for watching.
for
Hey, if you want to
tuning
leave a comment on your experience with MASH, you like it, you didn't
Yeah,
like it,
let us
whatever.
know.
What's your favorite character?
I would love
or your
to
favorite
know.
episode?
I would love to know your favorite character and why. That's what I would like to know.
Or your favorite episode.
And that
Yeah.
that trumps that, yeah, for sure.
So please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We try to have fun. Everything's about fun here. And from Shannon, Pickles, and Lou,
Take care.
thank you very much, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take
See you
care.
soon.